What's up troops, it's been a bit, let's get back at it. A disclaimer, I'm using a mod to change the game speed to 120% to emulate the turbo mode on the special edition of the game only available on consoles. No other mods are present. Mission 2 is fairly straightforward, dealing with basic fodder enemies and a couple of death scissors to spice it up. For breakers you can really just use whatever you want. There are no specific hard counters you're desperate for here. Although there are a couple of enclosed spaces where Gerbera lasers bouncing around will just maul everything, but things are simple enough you really don't need to and can just fight with whatever you're best at. Against death scissors you don't need to do anything fancy, but if you haven't learned by now it's time to get into jump cancelling because this enemy makes it incredibly easy and shows off how powerful it is. Provided you've bought enemy step from the shop, it's as simple as hitting the jump button anywhere near these guys' hitbox. It's massive and requires no real positioning or timing. Just be anywhere near their cloak and tap the button and you're going to fly. If you're not good enough yet to do that while mixing in moves like Caliber to chase them down, don't feel pressured. Repeated roulette spins are more than enough to keep them locked down. I try to keep this simple to show off how easily they can be dealt with. As soon as both swords are smashed, grabbing them stops anything annoying that can happen to let them regain their weapon. We're going to keep to the sky as much as possible here. Enemies on the ground can't hit you if you're not on the ground, essentially, and in Devil May Cry 5 the gravity is low and it is really easy to keep airborne by abusing Snatch. Charge shots give you tons of style and do a lot of damage and are one of your best tools for any kind of crowd control situation like this because the explosions are so large. Here I use Gerbera for easy air control. Punchline and Rawhide are also very effective for staying airborne and keeping the death scissors in place, especially if you're comfortable with jump cancels. If your sword ever clashes with their attack, you can avoid it with certain breakers, activating Devil Trigger for immunity, air hiking over it, or simply falling to the ground and restarting your offense. The anti-Nora fight can be trivialised by just hitting it immediately with a charge shot followed by breakage attack of your choice. Gerbera is going to get you the most damage by far, but you can really just use about anything with some area of effect on it to make sure you don't get knocked out of your attack by the Hell Kana on your side. Once the anti-Nora is gone, the fight's basically won and you can do whatever you like to finish off the remaining two enemies. Anti-Nora can be a real problem enemy coming up in future fights, especially when you don't have the luxury of spamming breakers. Although the one at the end of this mission is skippable, so there's no need to stress out about them just yet. Just spam some Gerbera for now, no brain required. Now's the time to put the leftovers of your breaker magazine to use and just go nuts. You can absolutely mash through these guys with just about anything, but being in enclosed space, Gerbera is completely ridiculous. As always against Hell Kana, the sky is the safe place, so hang high as much as possible and have fun beating up on the combo fodder. If you're not used to it, this fight can be a pretty good intro to facing enemies in Devil Trigger if you opt not to abuse your way through it like I'm doing here. Getting used to fighting enemies that aren't easily staggered is a necessary skill for even regular Dante Must Die gameplay, and these enemies in this specific location keep that about as straightforward as you could ask. It's also a very fun room for freestyle, which I make an attempt at doing. Not exactly my best, but my excuse is I'm still new to Turbo, which rocks, and I highly recommend it if you have access to it either through PS5 or PC. I'll leave a link to the PC mod in the description. If you want to skip the anti-Nora fight, as soon as you see cracks appear on the ground, just double jump, Gerbera, Caliber, whatever. You have way more movement tools than the distance you need to cover and all day to do it. The breaker loadout I grabbed from Nico is far from some optimised powerhouse designed to annihilate the boss. Just something I found both effective and fun to show off with. That being said, it should get you through pretty comfortably because it's set up to get as much damage off while the fight is still easy as possible, meaning you don't have to think too much when the hard part hits. Goliath is the only real challenge of this mission, and his moveset can be quite deceptive at times if you're not focused. The first phase is relatively simple, just stay behind him and work away with whatever you can hit him with. If things look even a little bad, hit DT for the invulnerability. One of your best tools and main get out of jail free cards is Nero with an enormous window. My plan was to use Overture breakage before he breaks the roof and jumps down. It doesn't make any difference strategically, but it means you can be a little slower for what's coming up next. Phase 2 is where breaker strategy comes in. First, get in his face and immediately use Showdown. If you're quick, you can get the entire attack off before he swings, followed by a level 3 charge shot. You can use a breakage attack here immediately if you want. There's like a 10% chance his pillar swing will hit you, and I couldn't really figure out a way to sort that issue out, so waiting a little bit and just avoiding the attack with a jump was slower but much safer. Once he's staggered, you want to hit him as much as possible before using Buster. I use my charge shot to time this. It hits level 3 around the end of the window he's grabbable, so you can watch the bar fill up, unleash the shot, then grab him immediately after. After popping Slow World, if you're not already there, it's important to get behind him. After being knocked down by the Punchline boost knuckles coming up, he staggers backwards and Showdown will miss if you're at his front. Oh, and a side note, using Bringer Knuckles while Showdown or any other attack is going on will actually reduce total damage, but it does produce a tiny amount of hit stun, so you can use it to get less damaging attacks off more safely. The third phase is the tricky part. Devil Trigger is active and he'll be taking almost no damage, so slow, steady gameplay is what's required here, which is why I choose Gerbera. He uses long, erratic combos, and it can be hard to identify exactly which attack string he's using, so it's best to just play it safe and circle around outside his range until you get an opening. You're good to go and throw some attacks in whenever he stands up straight and returns to his neutral position, but don't stick around too long or you will definitely be punished for it. Your big opening is whenever he does the big double fist Donkey Kong looking ground pound attack. More than enough time to get Showdown in. I got extremely lucky with the stagger here. Most of the time when that happens, Showdown will just whiff completely, so don't be a dumbass like me and spam Bringer Knuckles while you're charging up. Muscle memory can be a cursed thing sometimes. From here on, it's just safe gameplay and not diving in too hard. Keep your head cool, keep the focus up, keep the boss dead. And that's mission 2. Thanks for watching, troops. Stay tuned for mission 3 and see you later.